I am put on this earth to serve others and to help others. And everything that I've ever done in my life is to do just that, regardless to what level I am, what role I have, what I'm doing. I always want to reach back and help others.
In this episode of Conversations Beyond the Brand, Dr. Tashana Thompson kicks off season 2 by diving deep into what it truly means to build a legacy as a woman of faith, a leader, and a champion for others.
Dr. Vicki Wright-Hamilton, an executive coach, author, speaker, and fierce advocate for single mothers, small business owners, and those called to lead with purpose.
Her story is one of resilience, transformation, and service.
I believe that, we have a beginning and an end, and our dash is our why. My why is all about what I stand for, ensuring that others know you have the gifts, the tools, and the things you need to be successful. God gave them to you.
I would love to hear what inspired your writing journey.
I didn't want to necessarily write a book to publish. I was writing something just to tell my story. And then my mother jumped on the bandwagon. You need to tell your story. You need to tell your story. I said, why? Everybody got a story. Who's going to read it? She said, if but one person picks up that book and reads it, you don't know what life you've changed.
How do you define legacy in this season?
For me, legacy is not just about
Welcome back to another episode of Conversations Beyond the Brand. I am your host, Dr. Tashana Thompson, and I'm thrilled to welcome you to season 2, a season that's all about the women who boldly weave their faith and values into their personal and professional brands. And today's guest is someone who has just played so many roles in my life, personally and professionally. She is a longtime former client, a trusted advisor, a true woman of wisdom, and somebody who I have adopted as my surrogate aunt. I am thrilled to welcome Dr. Vicki Wright-Hamilton to the podcast. Thank you so much for joining me today.
No, the honor is mine. And you say previous client, I will always be your client.
This happens to life. We go together. I tell them all that, but this is like the OG of OGs, right? He has been with me since almost the beginning, and at the beginning of her business. So we'll get into that. But for now, I want to welcome you to this space of goodness. And I want to start for the people who may not know you, even though you've written the book, you've done the documentaries, the receipts on receipts on receipts on receipts. Just do a Google search real quick if you don't know the Dr. Vicki. But I want you to really tell it from the horse's, princess's, queen's mouth. Your journey and who Dr. Vicki is beyond the brand.
Well, first of all, I am humbled and honored to be in your company and the company of your audience. I don't take any of this for granted. My journey, in terms of who I am, I'm first God's child, and He is my Father. And He guides every step of the way for me in terms of what I do. Then, of course, it's my family. I'm a wife. I'm a mother. I'm a sister, a cousin. I'm a BB, a grandmother of 4 precious babies. That's probably the biggest joy of my life. I told my sons, I said, I love you, but there's no love like my grandbabies. And they always say, you act like we don't exist anymore. I said, well, no, but it is different. And a trusted friend. So that's first and foremost who I am. I am not defined by my title, my role, my accolades, or anything that I have done.
Amen.
They don't define who I am. I am put on this earth to serve others and to help others. And everything that I've ever done in my life is to do just that, regardless to what level I am, what role I have, what I'm doing. I always want to reach back and help others because I believe that's what God put us here for. As far as who Vicki is beyond the brand, I'm not going to go into all of the professional things. We can talk about that as we move forward. When I think about who I am and what I really represent, I believe that, we have a beginning and an end, and our dash is our why. My why is all about what I stand for, is ensuring that others know you have the gifts, the tools, and the things you need to be successful. God gave them to you. Our job is to leverage them, use them, but most importantly is to share them, because we're all going to have trials and tribulations. I don't believe in just the glory without telling the story. So I get on podcasts like this because I believe in being vulnerable and sharing the good and the bad, because that shapes who we are as an individual.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So tell us a little bit, I was going through my books the other day, and I was reminded of a little book that I had the pleasure of helping you put together several years ago. And in that book, you were really vulnerable, and I'll put it in the notes. You were really vulnerable about telling some of your um, what shaped you in terms of your childhood and your experience, and why you're so deeply devoted to helping others. Will you share a little bit of that with us, please?
Sure. So my book is Game Face. Um, that Tashana helped me as I was putting this together. And when I put it together, I wanted to share my professional life and my personal life, because we're a full 360, and I don't believe in just separating the two. But some of the things that shaped me as I am today, if I think about my childhood, I'm an Air Force brat. And my father, as a military officer, was extremely strict. And I think he was only strict on me as being the baby, because I think my brother ahead of me got away with it. And then my older two sisters, got away with stuff. But for me, it was, what you had to do. So he shaped me from the perspective to help me to understand nobody in this world is going to give to you something when you don't earn it, you don't deserve it, and you don't work for it. He was very much eliminating the excuses, have the education, do what you needed to do from experience. My mother, on the other hand, was not so much on the professional side, but the personal side. Don't forget who you are. Don't forget where you come from. Don't forget that to get in this world anywhere, we all need somebody, help, some kind, and you never know where it's going to come from. She was the
Absolutely.
one that helped me understand addiction. She was a drug addict counselor. I used to go with her. I learned how to deal with drug addiction. She worked a lot in the mental health area and the disabled. I learned how to speak so that the deaf could read my lips when they could not hear. So a lot of these things that I got as a child shaped me for who I became as an adult. Once I got out there and started working, what I didn't realize, even though I was growing up in the 60s and we had gunshots through the window, I knew what it meant to hit the deck. My mother was a big advocate in the civil rights with Martin Luther King and Slater and others, and marched with them, went to school with MLK, all of the rest of that. Even I was exposed to all of that. I just thought over time that these things would get better and dissipate. Well, what I didn't know is, as a Black woman in technology, going into a white male industry, there were more lessons I had to learn. And I had to understand what it meant to be in a place where I wasn't accepted. I had to continuously prove who I am. I always felt not good enough, because I would be told, you're here for a token. You're here just so we could say we pushed you up. And that's something, when you get promoted every 2 years of your career, to think that, oh my God, I didn't earn this. It's not mine. They're just doing it, and not really understanding the impact. I think all of that played into a role that I can't give them excuses. I cannot not do. And so my work ethic was out the wazoo.
Right. Right. Because you're told that your worth is in what you can do, right? And not who you are as a child of God, right? Um, so I think that that is something that runs through a lot of women, especially Black women. This need to prove and work our way to approval and all of that. So uh, this rich background is like shaping who you've become professionally
Mhm.
and your parents. I know your mom was at Spelman for many years and you had awesome parents. And your journey is just so telling in everything that you had to do working as a pioneer in tech, really, when there weren't Black women in tech. You know, there weren't a lot of women, first of all, and then Black women, absolutely not. You know, to your point, being considered the token or, you know, the one in the room. But I have the pleasure of having known you for more than a decade, even though we both just, 25. I don't know how you got grandkids because we're both 25.
I'm
Uh,
24. What you talking about?
oh, there you go. There you go. That's better. But I have come to know you as a woman of deep faith, and you've spoken to that, as we've talked through in just a little bit of time. Can you talk about how your faith has influenced your decision making, both personally and professionally?
Yes. So let's talk about faith personally.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what trials or tribulations that I go through, I know that every struggle is a lesson.
Right.
And the more I learn that lesson, the quicker I can move forward and
Right.
the more that I will grow in getting closer to Him. What I have learned over time is that no matter what happens in your life, the good, the bad, the ugly, there is a positive on the other side. While we're in the midst of it, we don't feel it. We don't know it. But
Right.
when we're able to get out of it and look back, we can then learn from it and find it. When somebody dies, when my mom died, I was caregiving for both my mother, my father, my brother, my cousin, and my brother in law, all through the same time, all while trying to work a career.
Mm-hmm.
My mother died in January of 2019. When she passed, I was hurt, I was lost, but I had to turn around and say, but she's not suffering. She's not in pain. She's not where she doesn't want to be, where she's not able to live the quality of life she
Right.
wanted to live.
Right.
And I had always promised her when she decided she was tired and ready to go home to be with the Lord, that I would release her and let her know I would be okay. I'd hurt, I'd
Mm-hmm.
cry, but I'd be okay because I knew that she was ready to sleep.
Right.
When my father died, and both of them were with me, when
Mm-hmm.
my father
Mm-hmm.
died, my father was very much at the point he didn't want everything to continue to be on me because I had served years and years taking care of my family. So when my dad died, I knew it was in September of the same year. He was going to be with mama again. He was going to be with the love of his life. He was going to be able to move forward. And he too was living a better quality life. But during the moments of the death, the pain that goes in your heart is like, Lord, I know it's for the good, but I hurt. I
Yes.
hurt.
Yeah.
And it means taking a lot of time to go through that process of really thinking about purpose, thinking about outcomes,
Mm-hmm.
thinking about the why, and recognizing there was something good there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, So I have learned over time, somebody could be in a car accident. Question is, did you live? That's all that matters,
Mhm.
right? Somebody says, oh, I got heart problems. Can you walk? Yes,
Mhm.
I can walk. It'll be okay. We always have to think about not the circumstances of what it is, but think about the blessing of the circumstances around us.
That's
So
right.
that's how it has shaped me personally. Professionally, every morning when I get up and I pray to God, I ask Him, Lord, show me where you are leading me. Where do you want me to go? I don't want to walk through a door just because it's open, because it may be the wrong door.
That.
I don't want a client just because they say they want to work with me. It may be the wrong client. I want who He wants me to have, when He wants me to have them, the way He wants me to have them. So my prayer is, if this is not of your will, close that door.
Absolutely.
Them away from me.
Absolutely.
Remove them. I don't want to work with them. I don't want to be in this circle. I don't want to be a part of this because I'm still trying to find that $100 to pay the gas bill.
Exactly.
And through this evolution, because it didn't start this way, here's what I want your audience to know. This is a growth. Where I am today is because of years of being seasoned. I didn't wake up this way. I wasn't always this way. We had to go through trials and tribulations on a journey to learn it.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I look at today is I may not be that multimillionaire in dollars, but boy, I'm so rich. I'm so rich. I'm so rich with beyond infinity of dollars because of what God has done for me and provided for me. I'm not hungry. I'm not naked. I'm not without car. I'm not without roof. I'm not without clothes. I'm not without health. I'm not without medicine to help my health. I'm not without exercise. All of these things that He has given to me and provided to me is only by His grace, because I'm no different than anyone else.
Amen.
So I just professionally, when we're in that point of, oh my God, I got to pay that bill, and they willing to give me $100 to pay that bill, but they the wrong $100. I may pay that bill, but something else come out on the other side of, oh my God, was it worth it? So
Exactly.
we got to be willing to go through the trials and tribulations, knowing in the faith He shall deliver us.
Amen. Amen. And I think that's so important because you said a couple of things that are many things, but a couple of things I want to point out about, first of all, making your quiet time, your sacred time with your creator. We call him Jesus, but we're not here to debate that today. But um, making sure you have your quiet time and prayer and meditation and really being able to reframe from death, destruction, all the problems. We all have bills, we all have family members pass, and we're dealing with that in my family right now. Um, but how do you shift? How do you reframe your paradigm to really say, but oh, I still thank you? And one of the most important parts that has really transformed my life over the last, I feel like almost a decade, is keeping a daily gratitude journal, because there's so many things that I can lay on the floor about. And we do. Let's be clear. We human. We gonna lay on the floor and we gonna cry. I did a video on Monday and people was calling to see about me because I just didn't feel like it. You know how you wake up somewhere and just don't want to go? But I said, and at the end of the video, 15 seconds, I said, you know what? But God saw fit to wake me up this morning.
That's right.
So I don't want to. My body, my flesh does not feel like going through the motions. And sometimes you have to say to honor that and get your rest, because rest is important too.
Yes.
But sometimes you have to say, but I'm thankful that I woke up this morning. I'm thankful that I could walk, to your point, like you were saying. I can go and work out. I can bathe myself. I can clothe myself. My needs are being met. That is something that so many of us take for granted. Even in the Even if you don't have all the money that you want in your bank account, is there a roof? Yes. Is there oh, did I pee? Is the lights on? We got the internet because we're talking. Like sometimes you got to get rudimentary. Some days in my journal, when I feel like there's nothing else, I thank you for plumbing. I thank you for water to wash my
Yep.
hair,
Yep.
to drink
Yep.
clean water, right? Because there's many people in this world who don't have that bare minimum, right? So I think it's so important that you are sharing that with the audience and also sharing the journey of getting there. People see you now and they see all the wonderful things you do because we're going to talk about this documentary and the books and all the things. And they don't know that it's a journey. And people see you at your heights and they weren't here when I filed for bankruptcy when I had my daughter. They weren't here, they don't know what it takes to get here. And they see the glitz and glamour, which and not really. But even in celebrities, you think you know their life. They're people. People are people.
But
And life is
that's
like
why my challenge is we tell the glory, but we don't tell the story. We need to share
exactly.
the story. And there are
Absolutely.
lots of things you're talking about where I can talk about stories. In my
Right.
book that I wrote that about, I talk
Yes.
about some horrible things that happened to me, but I
Yeah.
kept going. I
Yeah.
talk about those challenges because people want to glorify the good because everybody's looking for the dopamine in their mind that says it's going to be good. There
Right.
is no direct, constant silver bullet. It doesn't exist because we ain't Jesus. So we
That
all are going to go through trials and tribulations. We also are
yes.
going to go through rocky times, but it's how we deal with it. But there is something I'd like to say about that, Tashana. And you
Yes.
were talking about the flesh.
Hmm.
It is also important that you let it out because we are human. The
Absolutely.
Lord knows that we're all sinners and that this is all by our grace that we get anything, but we have to be human. And when we're human, the most important thing that happens is not only when you get in touch with Him, but when you need a reminder. Where's my prayer warrior friend that can remind me today because I'm not feeling it? Where
Yes.
is my prayer warrior friend that can tell me today it's going to be all right? To
Right.
remember you got clothes, to remember you can eat, to remember that you can drink, remember that you can do these things because in the midst of the moment, the body, the emotions feel like I can't. I can't do this another minute. So that's why the Lord puts people in your circles that are
Hmm.
supposed to be the ones that we support each other. Now, that doesn't mean your circle is this big. Your
Yes.
circle can be this big, but
Yes.
it's a circle that you're able to depend on to be able and depend on each other. Today I got a good day, tomorrow I had a bad day.
Yeah,
And I think
exactly.
it's the same way with our relationships.
Right.
Whomever your partner may be, they're not going to always have a great day. And we got to be there. I'm not going to always have a great day. I need him to be there. So I
Hmm.
just think it's important that we truly talk about what it means.
Absolutely. And I'm a relationship marketer. Everything I do is about relationships, right? And even reaching back to this one that shoot, we're probably about 15 years in. Woo! Hasn't been that long, Vicky.
Yeah.
Um, it's all about relationship and community. Like who can I text when I know they can get a prayer through. I know
Yep.
I can text Vicky, she can get a prayer through.
Yep.
Like, like you
Yep.
really have to have that, what's your starting five? Who are you calling on?
Yep.
Um to really go to help you through those things. I think that's so important, Vicky. Thank you for pointing that out. I want to talk about your passion for single mothers. And as someone who was raised by a single mother and raising a child on my own, raising a child now, not on my own, I don't know how she did it because I got help and I am yet struggling. So I really want you to talk about, where this passion came from and all the goodness you've done with it thus far.
Well, thank you so much, Tashana, for that. First of all, I was a single mom. I know the struggles.
Before we jump back in, have you ever felt like running your business means wearing so many hats? Like you're juggling everything at once? That's why we're proud to have Beyond Business Solutions as the sponsor of this episode. They help entrepreneurs like you stay organized, save time, and focus on what really matters, growing your business. If you're looking for your very own branding and marketing team that truly cares about helping you succeed, visit beyondsolutions.biz. Now, let's get back to the conversation.
I know what it feels like that you got to feed your child and you got $1.50 and you going buy canned good, for yourself, but you make sure they got a meal. I know what that feels like. I know what it feels like to have to work 2 and 3 jobs to pay the bills and to work with your community of girlfriends to say, can you keep him tonight? I'm going to work. I'll keep yours tomorrow night. I know what that's like. And I think that for me, what I want other single mothers to know, I got so tired of hearing how inadequate single mothers are when they raise boys.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yes, they need a male figure, but I ain't got to be married to one to give it to them.
Yeah.
If their father chooses not to be there, my father, their grandfather was right there with them every step of the way. Their uncle was there to give them male influence. I had professional friends that were there to give them male influence. So don't tell me what I'm not.
Yeah.
Stop criticizing me.
And that's so true of the person that say you get all the criticism. I'm doing the job that somebody else left.
That's right.
As a single mother, and again, I'm not a single mother, but I was raised by one. So I think that is what you're saying is so telling. They criticize, you're not doing this with the boys, you're not doing that for the kids. But where is the person to help create this child?
That's right.
Where's all that? So I think that
Right.
you had done such a great job, and you're a great example of being able to pull your community together to make sure your son had, awesome role models. And you have carried that, what you went through in that season, and literally, I feel like in many ways made it your life mission to reach back and to mentor and to tell the stories of these women.
That's
Tell
right.
them about this amazing documentary you put out
Well,
this year.
when I began this, first of all, I can't tell you how much criticism I got not to do this documentary because it wasn't part of my brand. This is my community love of my brand. Okay. I have a professional brand I got, that's great. But my community love, if a one single mother looks on that screen and sees somebody they can identify with, and then sees the solutions and the things that we could provide to help them, it was worth every penny that it cost to make this movie. Now, people think I got sponsors to make that movie. I did that movie on my own. $40,000 worth of an investment of a movie.
I know you did.
When I did it, it wasn't and still isn't about the money I spent. It's about the money of investment to help somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
So am I working to get it out nationally and globally? Absolutely. Because the more lives that can see it, the more positive impacts you can make.
Absolutely.
But as I was working with, I'm part of the Women in Technology organization, and I did the workshops and worked with these women, these single women in their single mother program. I saw so many different stories that were out there and how resilient they are and the challenges that they went through. But some of them were missing some of the pieces. So when I started talking to them, look, you all, you can't survive without a community. This isn't about you. You got to have a community. We got to have a community we can work with. And I was sharing with them some of the creative ideas I did because they were like, how could you be so successful as a leader and executive moving up the ladder and you're by yourself? I said, honey, let me tell you, I had some of the best single mother girlfriends you could ever imagine. I had some that were married, but their husbands worked a third shift, so it felt like they were by themselves. So I went to get my master's while I was a single mom. I was like, look, I'll pick the boys up from practice, keep them at my house and eat. You go to school, you could come by and get them. I'll go pick up the boys from practice tomorrow. You go home, get what you need to get done. Or I'm going to
Right.
cook dinner tonight. All y'all come over here for dinner tonight. Or we going to go over there for dinner tonight. And so we both didn't have to do it all at the same time. I
Yes.
even share a story in my book where a girlfriend met me at the doctor's office where my son I had to take in wasn't feeling well, took him back to her house and kept him because I had a major project I had to do that my boss was willing to fire me because I had to go take care of my child. So community was the answer and still is. And we've got to get back to that. We got to get back to helping each other and supporting one another. And so I just want to share that message. I want to share the opportunities, share the potential solutions, thinking creative, being outside of the box so you could help it. I had my nephew come and live with me. He and his mama weren't getting along. And daddy, he came to live with me. His job was to take care of my son while I had to go do certain things. I mean, there's all kinds of ways to make things happen. You just got to be willing to work together. And that's where the message of community came from. And I just want to share it. I just want to give hope and change lives.
Yes, and you're doing just that. And nothing is wasted, right? So this documentary was so powerful, and you'll tell me how to put in the show notes where people can find it, can find all the books. All the things will be in the show notes because Vicki has so much um awesome. You have a television show that you've done, and the two television shows that you've done in the past, all types of resources, and that have really shined a light and are really about helping other people and pulling people up. And this this documentary was extraordinary, and I pray that God continues to bless it and that it reaches not just single mothers, but the ones that are in proximity to help them, employers that um, could work with them and be creative in providing solutions for them, and not just single mothers. There's single parents in
Yeah.
general,
For
but this is
single women. Exactly.
exactly. But this is specifically centered around single mothers, and you don't survive without community, whether it's that you're born into. You have the benefit of having a super supportive family. Many people don't have that. Many people, but you have your family and your friends, right? And sometimes our chosen family um, is just as helpful, and if not more so sometimes. So I just love. I'm always going to have a special place in my heart for single mothers that you've taken up this mantle.
Well, thank you. I will also say that my mission was not just about the documentary. We also produced an anthology book. Now, why did I do that? Because I wanted all of these women to be able to tell a story and to be an author, a published author that allows them to go and speak, allows them to go in and make impact, allows them to go in and do things they otherwise wouldn't be able to do because they didn't have something behind themselves. So my goal was bigger than just being on a screen and making it. And when I had to rely on community as well, I had no family around. I was by myself. I was working
Quite a bit. It's all your roles, and yeah.
Right, right, and moving around and all of that. And when I think about businesses, we talk about these business resource groups. Maybe we have some resource groups that we could form out there that are willing to help,
Absolutely.
single moms as they're doing things, or single dads, or single parents, or whatever, and that they're willing to help and do things. And we live in the same neighborhood. We're able to go pick them up from school. We can help. There's so much that can be done. I don't want the conversations to stop. I want us to have these conversations with businesses. I want us to have these conversations with communities we live in. I want us to have them at churches and organizations, etc. Because it is not just that family's problem becomes everybody's problem. You know why? They always say, oh, when we got to give assistance and give help, that's my money. Well, you know what? If some of these people could get some help, they don't want the money. They want the job. They want the opportunity.
Exactly.
You
But look at
force
Stanley
them
now.
to get the
Right.
and but that's all they can do. So
Yeah.
stop criticizing that every single mother is out there for welfare or that those that don't work don't want to work. That's not true. Now, do you
Right.
have some? Absolutely. They exist everywhere. But let's not define the whole by one or two bad apples.
I hear you. That's a word. That's a good word. You've written some beautiful books, one of which you just shared, two of you've shared today. I would love to hear what inspired your writing journey.
I would say that I had been part of other anthology books before I wrote
Mhm.
my own. And a lot of the books that I was a part of was around the things of leadership, helping what had come to my forefront from mentees and others that were asking for information and guidance and moving forward. So that's what would start my chapters. But when it came to my book, I was like, you know what? People would always say to me, "Oh my God, you got life made, blah, blah, blah." I said, "If you only knew." And I said, "Well, how they gonna know if we don't talk about it?"
It's so true.
That's when I decided I was gonna write my book. Now I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't want to necessarily write a book to publish. I was writing something just to tell my story. But my mother and my brother, and my brother was 14 months older than I am. He's deceased now, but he was 14 months older than I am, and he was my biggest champion and cheerleader. And every time I would talk about stories, he was like, "You need to write a book." I said, "Nobody care about my story. They got one too. Nobody cares." And then my mother jumped on the bandwagon. "You need to tell your story. You need to tell your story." I said, "Why? Nobody cares. Everybody got a story. Who's going to read it? I'm going to write it and publicize it. And it's going to sit on a shelf somewhere. Nobody's going to buy it. Nobody's going to read it. Who's going to read it?" And that's when mama said the same thing to me. She said, "If but one person picks up that book and reads it, you don't know what life you changed. It's worth it." So when my brother had to stop work, he was on disability. He had neuropathy in his legs. He was a school teacher. And when he stopped working, he was like, "I need you to start writing this book." So I was like, "Okay, okay, okay." And then my mom was like, "You heard him. You need to write the book." Well, after he passed, my brother used to always come back to visit me as a cardinal. He said he would always be a cardinal to come see me. He lived in St. Louis. And on this one particular day, mom and I were standing at the back porch, and the cardinal came and sat on my landing. And I went, "Mama, Mama, Tommy's here." And so we went over and we were laughing and talking. And I was like, "Tommy, how are you? I miss you. I miss you. And look at Mama. She's doing well. She's turned around." And I was just crying. I was just happy, just smiling. And then the cardinal flew off. And my mother turned to me and she said, "You know why he's here, don't you?" I said, "Why?" "He's telling you to write that book." And it was right after that that I called you and I said I was going to write the book.
Can make me cry. I can remember all of this so vividly. Okay. You know, the seeds that people plant in us, the love that they plant within us never dies. And my mother always said, love never dies. And that love of your brother and your mom and your dad, and it just lives. And you being obedient to them and to Holy Spirit first has really been transformational and given so many people so much insight into themselves, right? And seeing you as a shining example of everything you've come from, being a single mother, abuse, and traveling and raping boys, and being situations where spaces were not conducive to people who look like you, being the one and the only woman in blackface is truly a testament. And if you are watching, listening, and you are struggling, be encouraged.
Yes.
Joy comes in the morning.
Yes,
Joy
it does.
Joy comes. Oh my God, I'm gonna cry. And you have just time and time again put your money where your mouth is in terms of giving people a platform, giving these women, these single mothers a story, me a platform. You know, you had 8 seasons of 2 wonderful shows that you're giving other people platforms, spending your money to give other people platforms, and nothing is wasted. That is the word that God is giving me for you today. Nothing is wasted because I know just to being in your presence that people don't always do you like you do them. And I want to give you your flowers and say that I see you, I hear you, I love you, I value you, not just for the work that we've done together. And there's been times you should know, and I've talked about in other podcasts. I talked about it in the portion of the book that I wrote recently. Vicki has shown up for me and so many others when there was nobody else doing business. There was nobody else. Vicki has poured in. There's nothing she could ever call me and ask for, and I wouldn't give it if I had it. If she say, Tashana, you got a kidney? Well, let me see how good it's working, girl. Let me go see. Jesus. You know, but really, and I know that people don't always show up in the same way for you, but nothing is wasted. God sees you. God hears you. He knows your heart. Um, and I want to make sure you have your flowers. So
Well, thank you. And I appreciate the flowers together.
you're a modern
I definitely appreciate the flowers today, and to know that, I strive hard to live his will. I strive hard to give to others. I never give expecting anything in return. Because I think a lot of that had to deal with all the things I had to deal with growing up. That if you don't expect anything, you won't be disappointed. Right.
Yes.
And so you just have to keep going. But my why, when I'm gone and I'm not here, my why, I want people to know I lived my life trying to give to others, giving back, helping others, serving others so that they could continue to grow and move forward. That's my why. And so if that is what happens out of all of this, and at the end of the day, then it was worth every moment.
Absolutely. And I'm not turning you loose right now. Let's jump into it, right? I'm not gonna let you go yet because I want to talk about your coaching business, and all the wonderful work that you do there. You know, when I first met you and you were seeking our support, it was really for a mentoring business that was not making you no money. So I want to, like OG mentoring other women, mentoring other executives, the right answer. Oh, way back whack, right?
No,
That's how far we go back.
no.
And it's always in your heart. Always. So you have transitioned that mentoring program. And you've been coaching executives for, we're only 24, so 23 for a few years. So talk about your coaching practice and how you.
Sure. So I have a coaching program called Unstoppable You. My Unstoppable You is a self-transformation program. And a lot of the leaders that I work with either are looking to transform their careers where they're going up the ladder, looking for ways to how do I excel and growth forward. And then some of them are looking for transformation and their self growth of starting their own business. So my Unstoppable You program is customized. It is not a one size fits all because we all at different points in our life.
Mm-hmm.
The one of the things that I pride myself on is that I meet people where they are and that I work to ensure that we can get to where they need to be. Right. And so I have clients that I'm working with on certain soft skills, leadership skills, things in terms of their presence, all kinds of things to help them in those areas they need to refine more. They're just opportunities. Everybody has something to start with. So that's one of the things I let my clients know. You're not starting from zero. You have something. But what can we grow on? How can we elevate that something to the next level so that we can continue to move forward? But that coaching business that I have been doing with leaders, and for me, everybody's a leader. So you don't have to have a title to be a leader. I don't care what you do in this life, what job you have, even if it's household management. And some people say, what's household management? When you take care of the house and you're raising kids, that's household management.
It's a whole
And let the
job.
world and let the world know household managers can be the best leaders in the world because they can be so creative. They know how to take a dime and make it a dollar. They know how to be creative when it comes to taking care of the kids and raising them and moving forward. They have all the responsibilities of scheduling, dropping off the school, practices, doctors, dinner, breakfast, lunch, all those things. So even if it's household management, I don't care what you do. There is nothing that is devalued. Everything has a value.
Right.
But one of the things that a lot of these leaders are starting to do in this day and age is start their own business. And that's what bridged my gap to being a business coach. And I work with businesses to help them double and triple their revenue in less than an hour and giving them a path of growth that they're looking to do to take their business to the next level. Because when we change small businesses and help them to be successful, we're changing the world. Because after all, as time goes forward, there's going to be more small businesses than there are anything else in this world in terms of moving forward because of where we are in these economic times.
Absolutely.
So I want to see these small businesses grow. I want to see these executive leaders grow. I want leaders to grow. I want people to thrive.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, can you think of one client in particular? I know you had many over the years, that you can kind of share the story of their transformation with our audience.
Sure. So there is an individual, and I'll keep the name anonymous to protect the
Please.
innocent. But there is an individual that I worked with, that I am still working with, and have supported, where they started at a point in their life. They were a leader of some teams, but they were very naive. They were they didn't understand a lot of the things that were happening around them. One of my favorite things that I like to help my clients understand is, how do we read the tea leaves? The things that are done but never told.
Yep.
And what does that look like? And so helping her to grow to do that, she continued to get promoted and elevated in the company as well as outside. To watch her growth and transformation has been a joy from beginning to end. Continued to excel. I have another client that was at a mid-level, where they didn't have a team. They wanted to get a team. They wanted to be seen as someone that could be valued as a leader to lead a team. So we worked on some things to help them not only be seen, but to help them to grow and refine their skill sets and moving forward, etc. And she got promoted 3 times through the process. The one thing I'm very proud of, and I know that, time will only tell, but 100% of the people that I have coached have been promoted.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so I'm proud of that from the perspective that they've shown growth, they invested, they're succeeding, they're moving forward. And that's what I want to do.
I love it. I love it. Well, before I let you go, I want to have a little fun with you.
Okay.
Okay. So I have some quick rapid fire questions I want to ask you. You just say the first thing that comes to mind. Your go-to coffee or tea order.
Coffee mocha, cafe mocha. I love
Okay.
mocha coffee. Yep.
All right. What is a scripture or affirmation that keeps you grounded?
Um, I am divinely equipped to lead with purpose, power, and peace.
I love it. One book that you would recommend to other business owners?
Dare to Lead by Brene Brown.
Oh, I love that book. Um, and final question. Oh, look, I got two questions. I'm going to ask them both, so not final question. What advice would you give to your younger self?
Embrace the power of your unique voice.
Mm. Oh, that's good. Embrace the power of your unique
Unique
voice.
voice.
Oh, I like that.
Every voice is unique and it's about you being authentic.
And how do you define legacy in this season?
So at this point in my life, legacy is about generational wealth.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not working my business for me. I'm working my business for my family.
Mm-hmm.
My desire is to leave that generational wealth to my kids so that they have something that they can continue to grow and develop in whatever way they want to, even if that means, rebranding, redoing, but they have something to start with. But for me, legacy is not just about a business. Legacy is about leaving the lessons you've learned, the challenges you've faced, and the solutions that you've been able to do and the things you've overcome to help somebody else. That will really be my legacy.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what a rich legacy that you have, that you continue to build. So, Dr. Vicki, Auntie, thank you for being here, for sharing your expertise and your heart and your testimony. Is such a powerful reminder of having the boldness to show up as your full self in every space, whether that be with your faith, your values, all of you taught me a long time ago, comes to work with you. So thank you so much for being with me today. And to everyone listening, if this episode has moved you, I encourage you to go and learn more about Dr. Vicki's work. Follow her in all the places, visit her website, get her books, watch the documentary, whatever she's doing, you go get it. And I will have it all linked in the show notes. So again, thank you for being with me. Until next time, thank you for tuning in. Bye.